MAPPA trying to
Mappa.
kill its
And
work.
I'll start this off. So y'all all know what time it is. Y'all all know what time it is. So we all know Mappa has been whipping their slaves, giving them like probably like 2 minute breaks. I'm sorry. Like we see how thirsty these
Oh, I got
JJK
paid early.
episodes have been.
W.
Like, I'm sorry. If you can't get sleep, food, or titties, and you get a 3 minute break, I said it, and you get a 3 minute break, and then you have to go back to work on animating. Like, not just Mappa, but the whole animated community as a whole has been a problem. But I feel that Mappa has, since they want to be as big as like Wit Studios and things like that, I'm attributing this to their CEO Manabu Atsuka, and so he's going into Death Note for abuse of power, mistreatment of his employees, and possibly ruining the future season of JJK because we don't know if they're gonna halt production. We don't know how long it's gonna be because what they have the One Punch Man next, and they're gonna have more Vinland Saga, more Chainsaw Man, then more JJK, and then including what other every other project that they bring in since they want to just keep on taking every big project. So that also means more. That means Fire Punch is gonna be in the future. The rest of his short stories are gonna be in the future. So, oh, this is like one of the tipping points where it's like us as consumers, we love the product, but we also know like where it's coming from. We know this is like this is a anime sweatshop, and the animators are going on Twitter trying to plead their case. Mappa's trying to make them sign NDAs, trying to silence them. And we all know if something ends up happening, because Random said, like, oh, what if someone ends up dying? The culture in Japan is company first, like, it's better what's better for the group. If someone gets sexually assaulted in Japan, they're the type to victim blame. They're like, you put us in this situation because you put yourself in that situation, that's inconvenience to us. If someone dies at Mappa or is in critical condition, they're gonna say he put himself in that situation, and now this is a distraction to us. This is inconvenience to us,
Damn,
and
that's fucked up.
that's how Japanese culture is, and that's wrong. So I'm putting Mappa CEO in the Death Note, and then y'all can take it from there.
The craziest part is that, like he said, the CEO of MAPPA is trying to like fast track his his company to being at the top. So, like he said, they've taken every big one, and mind you, we have consumed what he's taken. He's taken all the big ones. There've been people who have been glazing MAPPA, but now we are seeing the cost of that. We're seeing the cost of that to the point that it apparently that I thought the anime did go on hiatus. I thought it did because it's just so bad. And like uh Lonnie mentioned it on PC Anime. We're talking they're getting the episode done 4 hours before it's supposed to air. Like hours. So I'm like, mind you, at this point we understand the Japanese culture is very private. They don't like loud people, they don't like loud tourists, they don't like loud at all. And so, and then this isn't just a Japanese animation problem. This is Japanese work culture. They see people like passing out on the subways and on just random areas of the street, like these things where there's especially, at least I can only say this for what I've seen about the men. It's a prideful thing that I'm able to work all these hours to provide for my family, but which means this also takes them away from being there with their families. And I've seen people say, what if they get a union? It wouldn't work the same. We're legitimately asking Japan to change its work culture. And we can't do that. Something has to happen over there to make them change. And if own and we've seen people commit suicide, we've seen these things. Like, it's not just, this isn't just even a Japanese problem. Like South Korea has massive suicides every year, especially among young people. So like, this isn't like, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really see how this can change, short of finally maybe
America challenges them, bro.
yeah.
We get our own anime studio. That's how it's gonna change.
And it's just like
But
I
Random,
wish.
to go off your point, like
Yeah.
not like this stuff. Not only like does this stuff happen, it doesn't get reported either. Like Japanese culture, like when it comes to crimes and stuff like that, they don't really report their crimes like nationally. Like they're Japan's like one of the countries that says murder doesn't happen in Japan. We know murder happens everywhere, but if a murder happens and like there's no hardcore evidence, they'll say it's an accident. That's been documented so many times. Like, oh, if a murder happens, if sexual assault happens or whatever, they will not like they'll try to talk it off like as something else. Someone gets stabbed. Oh, they had an accident. They accidentally stabbed themselves. There wasn't a murder. He killed himself. Like they do that stuff all the time. And also with the Japanese culture, where's this money going? Because it's not going to these animators that are working 20 hours a week, 20 hours a day. Like it's not going to them.
It's not going to the writers either, the guys who've written the stories. And also, mind you, obviously, looking at the hard numbers, Japan is a very peaceful country. Like, legitimately, one of the biggest crimes in Japan is like if you got a bike and you leave it unlocked, it's gone. But you can leave your wallet on the street and they'll turn it into the police. They'll turn it. And Japan, ironically, I can't remember. I would just kind of learn about it because I want to go to Japan. I travel to Japan in the near future. They say Japan has one of the biggest lost and found programs in the world. Where let's say you're in Tokyo, you leave your wallet, somebody will turn it in, and then let's just say you go to Shibuya. I don't know. I don't know cities like that. Maybe Okinawa, and then they're like, "Oh, your wallet is over here." They logged it into a system, and do you want them to send your wallet to you, or do you want to go pick it up? And you go pick up your wallet. They'll check.
Fire.
Obviously, they'll check, but all your stuff's there, and you're good. They don't. It's just like one of those things where I'm just like, it just shows you how different our two things are. It just shows you how different our two cultures are, and at least maybe if somebody from Japan was on and they could tell us maybe what some changes that they could see happening, because we were sitting like, why don't they just strike? Why don't they just walk off the job until they get legitimate working conditions? But they don't care. Do we really need to talk about what China's doing to make sure we get iPhones every year? We don't need.
Well, China is a completely different story.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like this is.
And there are some beautiful things about Japanese culture. Don't get me wrong. I love Japanese culture as a whole. Like I also feel like they have like one of the best childcare systems in the world. Like children will be left unattended for hours to go to school or whatever, and they just
old enough on
and they're
Netflix
safe.
You barely have children.
Yeah,
Go
and they're
watch
safe. So it's like there's so many things good about Japan, but at the same time, like they hide their flaws and they don't acknowledge them at all, and they don't see them as a problem. They just see it as an inconvenience.
Yeah,
And this is a
on
clear
what Lonnie
problem.
said about childcare. Go watch Old Enough. It's a literal reality show in Japan about toddlers, kids and toddlers running errands. There's basically this mom walks up to her like her 4-year-old kid, gives her like a key and say, "Hey, go to the market and get some fish." And you literally watch this kid go to the market, like leave his house, walk a few miles or something like that to like a Walmart, picks up some fish and walks back. That is fucking impossible.
You can't do that in America at all.
You cannot do that at all. And like he's waiting at the light. There's maybe somebody helps him with the light, and they just watch him walk across, and he's just walling.
Yeah, it's like expected of the Japanese community to help children. But back to the money thing. Like for instance, Ty's an artist. I don't want him signing any deal with Shonen Jump or anything like that because they are shiesty as hell.
I will fight you.
I'll literally fight you, Ty,
and I will fight you
because like I think I said this.
Care about you,
I think I said this after the last PC anime.
Hey man,
Dragon Ball Z.
the
IP for Dragon Ball Z is worth $16 billion. What's the? I can't. I'm getting like a break for. Yeah, Toriyama. His net worth is like 300 million or 400 million or something like that. But his IP that he created is worth 16 billion.
No, Toriyama's worth like 30 million, 30, 40.
Yeah, so he's worth, so even less. So he's worth 30 million, but what he created is worth 16 billion dollars. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
He should at least be a billionaire.
Okay, I'm reading this article right now. As of November 8th, he is estimated worth $55 million.
Yeah.
Toriyama should be a billionaire. He should be a billionaire.
I mean, that's just how this stuff works. I mean, there's nothing we could do about Japanese culture and what they do. All I can say is America, you know what I'm saying? We got to build our own anime studios. We got to make these studios sweat. and then we put out some good anime, and
'cause
maybe
they know
we'll
we'll
stop
make stuff
putting
like-
out them garbage isekais. Maybe that'll happen.
Well,
Oh
I
my
will say
God.
this: MAPPA is it. Would it be possible that MAPPA fails and then just Wit Studios comes up like, we know how to freaking do this. We know how to do this. Maybe I'm not saying it's a better
No, I'm
way,
sure
but
they'll
maybe it's a
always be
safer
able
Well,
to
way.
I
get
will say that
workers, so
I will say that
doubt it'll
anime.
go.
I will say anime is on notice because we've seen the success of something like Arcane, and season 2 is coming out soon.
Mm.
And our American companies can. I mean, I think Blizzard. Well, Blizzard isn't like an American company or whatever, or whoever
Is it
owns.
European, right?
I forget whoever owns League of Legends.
You know, we
But
mess with our European brothers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but no, the average anime episode is around 2 to 300,000. I think like Demon Slayer is itself is like 3 to 400,000 per episode. Arcane, they average $10 million per episode because they just got it like that. Anime can't compare to that. Just from a money standpoint, $10 million per episode.
I don't think they need.
They
to.
they don't need
They
to.
don't
I'm saying
need
in
to,
terms
but
of
Arcane
in
was
terms of
beautiful.
Arcane was one of the greatest pieces of media I've ever seen. And just
Yeah.
like when you like, I watched the videos of like how they made the episodes and everything like that. Genius, and like it was just unparalleled. If more companies seeing how like well Arcane did, and anime companies were complaining, I think Wit Studios and like Studio Ghibli,
That's
even
how
like
you knew. That's how you knew. It
they
was a
all were
solid-
saying like, "Hey, don't compare us to this because we literally can't compete with this."
Also,
So
I
if
do kind of like
if more
the
companies
anime style.
if more companies say go that route and say like, "Hey, we can make our own content," and we said before the Shonen Jump IP is looking kind of shaky in a few years. We don't know.
If Disney all of a sudden decides, like, you know what, let's go get some of these slice of lives that are out there that
No,
Shonen
no,
Jump
keep
doesn't
Disney
want.
away from anime.
And I'm just using them
Yes.
as an example. If
Apple
Disney goes
or
out there,
whatever.
or
Don't give
even
them any
Apple, if they
ideas, bro.
decide to go in there
No
and
Disney.
they're willing to pay the money that MAPPA and Wit Studios are not willing to pay to get these stories to come over here, and they'll make them and try to adhere to that style, because at this point you're watching The Witcher, which is you're seeing that you don't need a story to be set in America like to be great. People watch the fuck out The Witcher. People watch the hell out of Game of Thrones. Like these things, we've seen that we can still watch. If the story's good, we don't care where it's set. We'll just watch it. So
True.
if they're able to walk in there and grab a up and coming slice of life that maybe has been turning heads and do something with it to the point where anime studios are like, oh my god, and they're getting, and it's not, and also that's not even, and think about even the American when they were coming at an American studios for overworking their workers, and I'm like, you guys are having a vacation compared to what MAPPA people are
usually
having.
what is the case when it comes to America. But overall, Disney, if they take over anime, they're gonna run the world.
Yeah.
Did they buy the rights to stream some stuff, or am I tripping?
Yeah,
Because I
no,
know
they
Disney
have
owns
the Disney has the rights to like a few animes. Like they have the rights to
On
Tokyo
Disney Plus,
Revengers. Yeah, they have the rights to like Tokyo Revengers.
Did they buy the first the first season of the Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War, right? They bought like the rights to stream it on Hulu.
Yeah,
right?
so like all the Hulu originals, all the Hulu animes, like their Hulu is owned by Disney. So like there were a few really good ones. The summer residence or whatever.
It's not just that. Even
Yeah.
Netflix has clearly shown that it's very interested in the anime space. Komi Can't Communicate, Kengan Ashura, which is weird. They just bought
Undead Unluck right now. Disney has.
Yeah, so they've shown that they're willing to keep going. Blue Eye Samurai, Kakegurui, like they've shown that they're willing to spend the money to do this. Mind you, their first foray into doing it themselves with Yasuke was bad, but they've clearly learned. And Miles, don't get me started on Yasuke.
Also, Bleach. They have Bleach right now.
Don't get me started on Yasuke for real. That may be the biggest disappointment I've ever had in anime.